Now before I go over extreme ice skating jumps, I just want to quickly describe to you exactly what an edge jump is, because there are numerous types of edge jumps in extreme ice skating, and they are categorized according to how you take off on the ice. So here I'm going to talk about what is an edge jump, and then from there we'll go on to the different types of edge jumps. Alright, so what you see here are two arrows, one on the ice and one facing up from the ice. So the first arrow on the ice is the turn which you take right before takeoff. And then once on takeoff, you'll see the arrow facing upward, which is the takeoff of the jump itself. So the arrow on the ice, when you turn, you're taking your horizontal energy and then you're putting it into the turn. Now, rather than doing a stop on the ice, you're using your edge and you're pushing hard against the ice, and you're converting that energy into like a pole vault, so to speak, and you're sort of flipping off of the ice, sort of like a flick or a flip of your foot. You turn your foot and the energy from the ice comes back up into your leg, and then that transfers into vertical energy or vertical leap. And in this jump, called the backside scissor jump, you'll see the same type of action taking place. See here right before takeoff, there's a turn, energy in the ice up through the legs, and vaulting up in the air. And it's a different type of edge jump, but similarly it works the same way by transferring your energy into the ice and the back and from the ice into you, and converting your horizontal energy into vertical energy. Now we're going to talk about different types of extreme ice skating edge jumps, and to date there are 6 known in the sport: forward, frontside, fakie, also known as backside, one-footed, eagle turn, which is an airflow, and other extreme ice skating jumps that take off from eagle turn positions, and reverse one-footed, which is a reverse Apollo's turn created into a jump, and this has never been shown on film before. So now we'll talk about forward edge jumps. And a forward edge jump is simply a jump executed from a forward position. Here I'm demonstrating a forward 360 going to the left. See here, there's a 45-degree turn and then jump and land. And again, you'll see how my skates are sort of bent inward or on an angle, and then the final release are the toes. Here I'm demonstrating a forward 360 to my right. I'm actually more comfortable doing this, but you can see I'm not really making it or turning it into an edge jump. See here, my skates are not angled. The release point was not really my toes, and you could just see that there's no energy here. I'm sort of just using brute force. Next, we'll talk about frontside edge jumps. A frontside edge jump is a jump where you enter into the jump or execute the jump going forward or your front side. But it is not called a forward jump because you're taking a 180-degree turn, which makes it a backwards facing jump, as opposed to jumping at the 45-degree turn. So you pretend as though you're taking off at your 45-degree turn, which is right there, and then the final release is backwards and with your toes. The only other measure to be aware of is that when you're taking off, you have to figure out how you can convert that horizontal speed into vertical leap without losing energy. And you'll notice that on your turn, you'll lose energy. So you have to figure out the exact mechanics of that. The next set of jumps are called fakie edge jumps, which means to go backwards or to fake going forwards by turning backwards and then jumping. And you can see here in the jump, you see how I'm taking a 45-degree turn, and then I wait for the ice to push back on me and jump right there, and then pull my arms in once in the air. Fakie, by the way, is also termed for backside, which comes from the aggressive inline skating world. However, there are some fakie jumps which are not edge jumps. In other words, you're not carrying your energy from horizontal and converting it into vertical. And a lot of these jumps are 180s. One-footed edge jumps are flare jumps. And a flare jump is where you essentially jump with one foot, spin in the air, and land on two. Now, to do this jump, as explained earlier in the video, you wait for that one moment where you feel the ice pushing back onto you, and that particular moment is right here. See how I was almost sideways, and I waited for that energy transfer to pull me and pull up in the air and then land on 2 feet. Eagle turn edge jumps are air flows, and while air flows are not the only eagle turn edge jumps there are, I'm sure there are others, though they have not been invented yet. These are definitely hands down the hardest extreme ice skating jumps ever. And the reason is because there's a lot of spin and torque involved in them, which means there's a lot of outside forces acting on you in the air, and it takes a lot of skill and practice to get these down right. You can see here I'm taking off with an eagle turn, and the final takeoff is in a backwards position. And as you can see, the takeoff is with toes and energy converted upwards. And finally, there are the reverse one-footed edge jumps. And as said before, these jumps have never been shown on film before, so I'm just going to show you the reverse Apollo's turn. So a reverse one-footed edge jump is basically what you see here, but without the jump. Because it is so hard, and quite possibly this is even harder than the airflow, you will have to figure out what to do next at this point, because I simply do not know. But I have done it from time to time before by accident. What you do is you see here where I'm taking that turn backwards. Well, you wait until that supporting foot catches that edge, sort of like a flare jump, but you would spin backwards. So you would jump in the air at a turn and then spin backwards and then come down. That's why it's called a reverse one-footed edge jump.